Let me just say I'm probably going to sweat more in the next few minutes than I will during the whole race across America, so these things make me a little nervous. Yeah, let me just start you out with a thought here, and that thought is that there's a big difference between doing something great and actually being great. Race Across America is great. I mean, it's more than just a 3,000-mile bike ride across the country. It's a personal challenge to see what you can put yourself through. It's an adventure. It's a race. And as we're finding out, and I think Jim would attest, it's a logistical nightmare to move riders and crew at 20 miles an hour in sync across the country in a week. So, the first time I saw this, I guess, was probably 10 or 15 years ago. I was watching a PBS special. I think it was a Nova special. And the race finished that year in Savannah, Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. And they were interviewing a solo female rider. She was probably about 50 to 100 miles outside of Savannah. The van pulled up along next to her, and the interviewer's asking her questions. And how are you feeling? She's like, I'm feeling great. I can't believe I've come this far. It's almost over. And all of a sudden, her bike veers to the right, and she goes end over end into the ditch. They stop the van. The cameraman gets out. The interviewer gets out. They go over. She had fallen asleep. That's the type of toll this puts on your body. So they kind of nudged her. She woke up. She brushed it off, got back on her bike, and finished the race. And I thought, that is intense. This is definitely something I've got to do someday. So I know that sounds strange. I don't know where that comes from, but I'll tell you. So last year, my wife kind of, I don't want to say allowed me to do this or whatever, because she'll hit me afterwards for that, but agreed that this year was the year that we could do that. So I made a couple phone calls, and I found 3 other guys that were willing to do this with me on hand cycles, and we had a team. And really, the first thing that you do after you form a team is you got to come up with some sort of cool name. So we started to think about it, and we thought, well, we want something that's kind of indicative of us being in chairs. We've kind of focused our lives on looking ahead, even though we're in chairs. We've kind of focused on what can be instead of what is. Hey, how about Team Can Be Venture? And it started to come together from there. And the next thing is we thought, well, you know what? We could probably get this paid for. Why don't we put together a snazzy kind of sponsor package to go along with this? And we'll write up some bios and we'll attach some cool pictures. And we did. And right before we sent out, we thought, hey, you know what? There might be a charity or somebody else that could benefit from us doing this. What about Challenged Athletes Foundation? They provide adaptive sports equipment to people with disabilities that can't afford it. Hey, that kind of works. Yeah, let's redo the sponsor package and we'll add them in, And we did that, and we sent it out, and come to find out, a lot of people wanted to give us a lot of money to do this. And even more odd to us, a lot of people called us and said, wow, this is really inspirational. But to be honest with you, I didn't necessarily feel like I was inspirational. I mean, I was just a guy that wanted to race my bike across the country. I mean, in reality, that's what I wanted to do. This was a challenge for me. Along that lines, I've had the opportunity, and mostly because I've been in a chair, to do some pretty great things in my life. I've done the Boston Marathon several times. I've competed in the Hawaiian Ironman several times. Now I'm doing Race Across America. Who knows what's next? But in all of those opportunities, those were kind of personal challenges that I had. But also through all of those opportunities and things that I was able to do, I met really great people. I mean, in Boston and Hawaii, I met people that had lost loved ones to cancer that determined that this was the best way that they could bring awareness to cancer research and raise money for cancer research. So they got themselves ready, and they did this race with the goal of raising money and bringing awareness to cancer research. Now I've met Jim and Team Save Buzzards Bay, whose goal is to promote health and wellness and to save the environment. And when I think about it that way, I've learned that there really is a big difference between doing something great and being great. And it's called motives. And when I think about it, I'm inspired by guys like Jim and their team, and people that do this for the right reasons to help others. So with that said, I'll turn it back to Jim, and Jim, to Team Save Buzzards Bay.